Okay, welcome back. In this video, we will cover the last part of our models, that is state machine diagram. Okay, so what is state machine diagram? It is a UML diagram showing the life or the changing of an object in states and transition. Okay, and in state machine diagram, we have state, the transition, and also the action or expression. And we also have the pseudo state, origin state, destination state, gut condition. Okay, and this is an example of state machine diagram. But before that, let's look at into some definitions on the components in the state machine diagram. Okay, first state. Okay, so state is a condition during an object's life when it satisfies some criteria, performs some action, or waits for an event. Okay, so state, we have that pseudo state, the starting point, and we have the origin state, that is the original state of an object before the transition, and we have the destination state, which after the state object, the origin state move. Okay, after the transition. Okay, so this is the pseudo state, the starting point, and this is the origin state, and this is the destination state. Okay, so the origin state is the current state before we run the transition, the process. Okay, the origin state. After we run the transition, okay, so it will move to the destination state. Okay, so that are states. Okay, next we have the transition or the process of change, that is the movement of an object from one state to another state. And we have the action expression, the description of activities performed as part of a transition. And we have the gut condition, that is a true-false test to see whether a transition can launch. Okay. So in this example, we have the transition. Okay, this is the transition, which consists of the action expression and also the gut condition. Okay. Okay, so for example, we have the transition name, on, button, push. Okay, this is an example for a printer. So from off printer, we want to turn on the printer. So how to turn on the printer? So this is the process. So we push button on, okay, and then it will check the gut condition. Okay, if the safety cover closed, and then it will run the self-test and the printer can be turned on. Okay, and then from the on state for a printer, we want to turn off the printer, then we just off button push, and then the printer will be off. Okay, so the this is the message notation for the transition name, the gut condition, and also the expression. Okay, so we have the transition name here, and if there is any parameters, then we can include the parameters before the gut condition. So this is the gut condition. So the gut condition, we want to check the true or false. Okay, the condition. If it is yes, then we can run the expression. Or if it is no, then we cannot process the transition. Okay, so this is the gut condition. We need to check first if it is true or false. Okay, and then we have the action expression. Okay, what else? Okay, so this is the simple example for a printer. Okay, and then we can go into the details for the state machine diagram. We call it as composite state. Okay, where a state containing other states and transition. Okay, so now we already turn on the printer. Okay, so in this state, we expand the process. Okay, we expand the process. Now the printer can be on, but either idle or working. Okay, sometimes our printer is on, but it is in idle state, and there is a condition, there is a situation where our printer is ready to work. Okay, so now the printer is on, but we want to change the state from the idle to working and from the working to idle. Okay, so this is inside the on state. Okay, from the previous diagram. So we have the pseudo state and we have the origin state and we have the destination state, and we want to print document, and then we can put the action expression here, load and print sheets. Okay, so from idle it will be working, and from a working state, okay, when it is finished, once it is finished, then it will turn to the idle state. Okay, so we call it as composite state. Next, we have the concurrent path when multiple paths in composite state. Okay, so for example, printer on path are independent. Okay, so from off, but from off printer, okay, we turn on the button, okay, and we have multiple processes in a composite state. Okay, so this is the composite state, and we have multiple processes. Okay, and then after we have done with these processes, then when we push the button off, then the printer will be turned off. Okay, so that is the concurrent path. Okay, these are the steps for developing state machine diagram, which you can read it later. Okay, there are 8 steps. Okay, but basically I have explained it in the previous example. Okay, so first we can review the class diagram to identify which classes that need to require state machine diagram, and then we identify the condition, and then we identify the transition, the sequence of the state, and review if there is any concurrent path, and then look for additional transition, expand the transition, and review and test the state machine diagram. Okay, what's important is you need to know that basic state machine diagram. The first example that I show you, which is this one. Okay, so yeah, you should have that understanding for the basic state machine diagram, and at least this one, the composite state. Okay, but the details of the state machine diagram you can read it on your own. Okay. Okay, so we are done with all the models in our subject. Okay, so this is the last diagram. Okay, and lastly, how to integrate the requirements model. So basically, each and every models are connected and are related to each other. Okay, so we have the use case diagram, which will then be expanded to use case description, which can assist in developing the activity diagram, system sequence diagram, and also we have the DCD and also the state machine diagram. Okay, so for your project, you will already develop the use case diagram and use case description and domain class diagram. Okay, so for activity diagram, you need to develop it for your SRS. Okay, but for your project, I would suggest you to develop just one activity diagram to show the whole system. Okay, just one activity diagram to show the whole system. Okay. For state machine diagram, you might not need to develop it for your project, but it might be asked in your exam. Okay, so you should have, again, you should have that basic understanding on the state machine diagram. Okay. And for system sequence diagram, you need to develop it for your project, and you can develop one system sequence diagram for the whole project, for the whole workflow, for the whole business process, or you can develop your system sequence diagram based on your use case. Let's say you have 10 use cases, then you can have 10 SSD. Okay, but activity diagram, I just want one activity diagram to show the whole process of your project. Okay? Okay, so that's all for chapter 8. If you have any question, please do ask me. I'm always waiting for any question, okay, to assist you. Okay, so if you have any question, you can drop your question in the section provided below, or you can personal message me. Okay, don't keep your doubt in yourself to yourself. Okay, so yeah, so that's all for chapter 8. Thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and bye.